Hi. Today I'd like to talk about pen pals. They're a form of friendship. They're friends. They can be. And I'm a friendship coach, so I talk a lot about friendship in my videos. And today I thought I'd come on YouTube and talk a little bit about those pen pals. Do you have them? Do you have pen pals? Either online or through the mail? It just seems like everybody's online now, so you think, does anybody actually write to pen pals through the mail anymore? I do occasionally. I have one pen pal that I've had for years, since like 1980, or not 1980, 1993, I believe. 94, 95, somewhere in the mid 90s. And we occasionally write back and forth, uh, actual writing the letter and sticking it in the mail. And she's in England, and we would write long letters to each other. Type them usually. After a while, we type them, but once in a while they're handwritten, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to get a letter in the mail. It's a treat because it seems like everybody communicates by email almost, or text, and so I do still have her as a pen pal, um, but I don't have others. I did meet one of my friends. Uh, that's Ruby. You can hear uh, our kitty cat, and there's a one person that I did meet online. One of my best friends, and that was on I believe it was a Yahoo group that I met him on, and we had a lot in common, and I just got to talking to him on there, and now we've visited each other. My husband and I have gone out to see him, and he's come to see us, and I chat with him online. It's really fun, and he's a great guy. So so that he's not really a pen pal. My friend Anne is really the only pen pal that I have now. But I did meet this other friend online, and so I guess you'd say we were kind of pen pals, but it's a little bit different. So um, let's see. Are you still in touch with pen pals that you have had years ago? Even if you've stopped being pen pals, did you still keep in touch uh, through texting and just more more casual conversations? I was just wondering about that. Um, and just not really back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, but just whenever you have some news, you'll just pop in on a text, or in an email, or even another uh, snail mail correspondence. And I actually got a surprise. Oh, I'm not sure what year it was. It was maybe a year, two, maybe 3 years ago. I'm not sure. I can't remember. Um, but one of my pen pals from when I was in my teens, 20s, actually found me on Facebook, and now we're friends on Facebook. And she's so cool. She's really great, and I'm so glad that we got back in touch. That was awesome. It was a great surprise, and so you can do that too. I mean, people that you used to write to, uh, with the pen and the paper and send it off in the mail, you can now be friends with them on Facebook or text back and forth or whatever. And it makes it really nice when you can reconnect with people that you used to be pen pals with. And let's see. What else did I want to mention about it? I started pen paling in my teens, usually when I was laid up. I think it was when I was kind of laid up with surgeries, and I thought, well, I'm reading and I was into art and all kinds of, artsy kind of things. And I thought, I wonder. And I really love to write. So I said, well, let's see if I can get some pen pals. That would be nice to make some friends while I'm laid up here. And it turned out really well. Actually, I met and married a pen pal. Yep. Jim, my husband, was a pen pal. We met, we started writing in 1984. We met in 1986. And we married in 1988. So that's a cool story. People like that story because it's different. It's not like you met somebody in college or you met somebody at a bar or things like that. I met him as a pen pal. And I was living with my parents at the time. I was 20, and I was living with my parents at the time, and I figured, well, if he's a creep, I'll just put him back on the airplane and make him go home. And I'm with my parents. I'm pretty safe. And he seemed like, it was really pretty cool because he is exactly like he was in his letters. He wasn't fudging anything. He was exactly like his letters. So it was really cool. And so we talked and talked and talked and talked that first time that we met. And he came back to visit. He actually moved east and to Massachusetts first. And then we got closer and we got engaged, and so he moved up to where I was in New York. And so he's originally from Nebraska. So yeah, we just wrote back and forth. I had no idea that I was ever going to marry a pen pal. That wasn't something that I had thoughts of at all, but it happened. And so we've been married for 29 years. In June it was 29 years, so it was like, well, we must have done something right. And so that's a nice thing about pen paling. You never know. I mean, you can have friends, you can end up marrying a pen pal. We've got other friends who met online. They didn't do the paper and pen thing, but they met online and now they're married. And so you never know. There's all sorts of different ways that you can meet your future spouse. And so pen paling for me, let's see. The way it went for Jim and me, there was a couple that provided names of pen pals, and I sent for that list, and Jim was on the list. And so that's how we started. I said, well, I never had a pen pal in Nebraska before. I'll write to him and see what he's like. And he was totally normal. He was totally normal. He's he's a kid at heart, and he's a jokester, and but he's got his quiet side too, and he was just the way he was, totally. And other people other guys that I rode to were different. They One asked me to marry him the second letter that I got from him, and I thought, no, bye. And others, they called me on New Year's Eve, I think one called me, and he was a little tipsy, and he didn't ask me to marry him, but I don't know how in the world he got my phone number. I don't know. I don't know if I gave phone numbers out back then. I don't know. Anyway, he called me and wished me Happy New Year, and he was a little bit tipsy, so that was interesting. Um, but I didn't have any real trouble with anybody. Um, they were all pretty, uh, pretty good. The ones that I would keep in touch with, and on a regular basis. And I lived in the country, so we had a funky address where you couldn't tell where we lived. So I never had any pen pals, like creepy pen pals coming to my door and, attacking me or anything. We were really pretty, pretty safe in that regard, because you couldn't tell where we were from our address, really, except the town, but the street, I mean, it was just they used box numbers and route numbers and all that stuff. So I could have been anywhere. And let's see. Then I think, let me see, the most pen pals I ever had, I think I got up to about 50. So I got a lot of mail. And it was a blast. I really loved it. And there were some that I really got especially close to. Others kind of petered out. They just faded away. And we'd write for a while and realize that we don't really have that much in common, and it wasn't really that fun to write anymore, so we stopped. But I never really had any trouble with pen pals. And there were some that I did meet who weren't like they were in their letters at all. They were all sweet and nice in their letters, and I'd meet them and they were like, not mean or anything, just kind of just not the way I saw them in their letters. And so anyway, let me know what you think of pen paling, if you still do it, if you did it when you were in high school, or if you're still in touch with people that you were that you met through pen paling when you were in high school, and if you still write to people with the pen and paper, or do you do all your communicating by email or text? Do you do video calling? Do you talk to some of your pen pals by Skype, or some other video chatting? Maybe FaceTime? I'd like to know. I'd like to know what the state of pen paling is out there. And so give me a shout on my on the comments below, or you can email me at amy@acnlifecoach.com. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and maybe it'll even include some chats or some visits with your pen pals. I hope so. Take care.